got it. You got 8:30? Yes, sir.
I'm here because I want to hear what Ed says in his update.
Okay.
The,
Okay.
so that I want y'all to be mushrooms.
Oh, but
What does that mean?
I planned on calling you anyway. I know the meaning.
I think we're on. Okay. 8:30. Did it really?
It did. Maybe, for now.
I have time.
Well, these are a lot of years ago.
I know there's showing two without green lights, and I don't know why, so.
So is this new, Ashley, this, your item list? I think we had it last time.
Yeah, it's the new agenda management system on here.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, how are you?
There we go.
Morning.
Good morning.
Did I get you, Carrie?
I don't have power.
Seems like there's two. She borrowed Mr. Jimmy's to get started? She can.
I talk a lot anyway.
There's two jacks that don't seem to be.
Thanks, David.
You good?
I'm good.
Hey, David.
That's good. I don't talk that much anyway. That it would have been a problem if it had been Eric.
It's a good guess that I had something to do with the plug. He didn't have to be quite so public.
Did it get you going?
Mhm.
Okay.
Eric was kidding.
Good morning. We're going to call that meeting to order. I would ask if you have cell phones to please turn them off at this time. We will stand and we will have pledge of allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Blunt and prayer by Councilmember Reed.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you would like to pray, would you please remain standing? Dear God, thank you for this day that you have made, a day that we shall all rejoice and be glad in. We ask this morning that you grant the mayor and the city council to have ears to listen to the people that we serve and the wisdom to act for justice. Bless our agenda to be fruitful and for the common good for the city of Madison. Amen.
Amen. We have a couple of things on our agenda this morning. Is there anything that need to be added? If not, Ashley, alcohol license renewals.
Yes, sir. In front of you, you will see your packet, but you'll also see an updated spreadsheet. There is only one change from your packet to the spreadsheet. Eatonton Road Food Mart came in yesterday and turned in an application and paid. However, I am still missing a bond and a certificate of insurance from them, but you'll see that highlighted in yellow down there at the bottom. Or did I? Yes, it's the very last one. But as you can see, the top portion where nothing is highlighted in yellow, I've received everything I need from the applicants. Included in that applications is the new address for Madison Produce. They're, of course, moving from Washington over to Jefferson. Getting ready to open up soon, I think, so that'll probably make a lot of people excited. But he has certificate of insurance and bond. They are in the process of transferring addresses, and when I get those, I'll, of course, file them away. But he has gotten me everything he needs. And down at the bottom, you'll see that Tequila Foods, they came in to pay. However, they tried to pay with a credit card, and we need certified check or cashier's check, and there's one other option. So he hadn't gotten that back to me just yet, but he did come in to do it. And we're a little ahead of schedule. Typically, they have until the second Monday to get me this stuff. So I've been a little bit lenient with them and not, hounding them for stuff. And Corrado's, I've got everything from him. He is set for payment on December 17th. Citgo, I am waiting on insurance from them. Flash Foods, they were sent an email with their invoice and told me they were going to mail it. However, I think it kind of slipped through the cracks with the holidays, so I spoke to them yesterday and they're getting that to me soon. Quick Shop, I'm still waiting on a bond from them, and you'll see SP7 DBA Chevron Food Mart. I spoke with them and they are in the process of trying to sell the business. However, there's still a few things they're waiting on. They're not sure if they're going to be able to get it in time for the new year. So that is a application that I don't want you all to approve tonight. I would ask that I'll either have that one on the 14th, on the meeting on the 14th, or I'll have the new applicant. I'm just waiting on that. Madison Hospitality, that is the hotel. I'm waiting on their insurance and their bond. And then, of course, Eatonton Road Food Mart, I'm waiting on their insurance and their bond as well. Everyone else is set to go.
Okay.
So I would like to ask that you approve all the completed applications and applications pending documents for 2021 year, excluding SP7 Chevron Food Mart.
Ashley, is this list about, to refresh my memory, or is it the length of the list or the number of licenses, is it pretty consistent over the years?
Pretty,
It
yes.
seems like it.
It is.
Yeah.
I'll usually, if I take away one, I usually add another.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions for Ashley? If not, if we can get a motion to approve those specified license for 2021.
I think, Ashley, you said to
Ex-
not do SP7, the Chevron?
Correct. Mhm.
All except for that.
All except for
Correct.
SP Chevron, yeah.
I so move.
Second.
Are there any more questions? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, none, vote unanimously. Thank you. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
Okay, Ed, it's you. Give us a brief update on the Downtown Development Authority.
We got there that quick?
Yes, sir.
You want to go right there?
Joe can come over here and sit up here. I do want you to come up here, Joe, because I'm going to ask you to add some stuff, okay? Because Joe's been working on several different things that I think that are important. His committee has been very active recently. What we've done at the end of the year is we're trying to get into a better cash position. We're fairly debt laden right now, so we put some lots on the market that can generate some revenue. Those lots are under contract and will close probably around the 31st of this month. That will bring in probably about $311,000 that we can put to paying down some of our debt, which is what we plan to do. We've got finalized plans for Adrian's and the beverage store, and that's in the works. We hope to start on that probably in January, February. That's a very important part of this whole process that we've gone through, because we can't really optimize West Washington Gateway until we get those buildings down and new ones up. So it's the feeling of the DDA that once we get that done, it's going to create a demand for the rest of it. So we also have another project working. Which one? Would you like to talk about what we're doing as far as multifamily?
Be happy to, but you get finished.
Ed, can you tell us who's all now currently on the DDA and in Joe's, because it's changed a little bit, and who's on Joe's committee? Is it all DDA members, or is it any
It
new
is,
folks, or?
well, it's all DDA members. Joe
Except
is,
for me.
except for
you.
Joe.
Okay,
The other RAS committee
okay,
is comprised of three DDA and one volunteer.
okay.
Um,
And the RAS committee is
Is
the?
what?
That's
Yeah.
the one that the lots went through,
Okay.
and Carrie's very familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Is that the part of the Housing Commission, the RAS?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, okay.
so, anyway, that's really all I was going to say today. But Joe, I'd like you to kind of, because Joe's been instrumental in working, especially with the Adrians and that project, getting us to where we are. And I do want you to say a few things, please.
Well, the movement,
Can you get up to the mic, Joe?
the movement of Adrian's and the liquor store from the Triangle to the adjoining property across from Highway 83 was monumental. And I don't know, it was Everett's idea, and all of a sudden we looked at each other and says, what have we been waiting for?
So this was, initially, y'all were going to have it in the within the triangle, so
Right.
this is the new decision to move it across the street, so the triangle will be just green space, is that?
No,
right?
no.
No,
Okay.
there's
We don't know anything,
Yeah,
so,
there'll be construction within the triangle,
Okay.
but, you can't take two businesses away until you have a place to put them. And the proximity of the businesses and what you'd had to do to get them in the triangle were a huge mountain to climb. So by moving that across 83, putting those two businesses together in one business, in a fine looking building that's been designed, if you haven't seen it, you need to. It's just, if you want to see it, I've got it.
where, is it online, is it?
No,
where-
I don't think
No, it's not online yet.
Okay.
If you go to the reports for the HPC, they did a design review. They're not subject to the
Okay.
COA requirements, but the plans are online, available at the city website.
Yeah.
Great.
And since you are familiar with it, chime in. If you think they're good, tell us. If you don't, tell us. But it's a great design that was done. As far as that's concerned, the liquor store section of it is, I'm not going to say out of our hands at this point, but it's his loan and all that stuff, the banking, the financials are all in process and looking very, 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 very positive. So I wouldn't be concerned with that. The exterior of the building is something that HPC's looked at and has approved of.
So he will actually own, this will be fee simple
Right.
for
Right.
them,
Yeah.
okay? We're not building the building
The-
for them.
The Adrian's building will initially shell it. We'll just build a shell and then do the interior construction based on needs. And that's really one of the big things I'm working on is trying to communicate with Martha to see what her needs are. She's currently in 2,500 square feet, 500 of which she doesn't use. It's just kind of an exterior, external storage area. So we hope that we'll be swapping space for space, but using it better, she'll have a much better restaurant. We will probably increase her ability to seat people, and certainly increase the efficiency of her kitchen. And at the same time give better storage, maybe not more storage, but more applicable storage and cooler units. So that she doesn't have problems with.
What about parking there? Because I know she's always kind of, is the parking going to be behind, and is it public or
The parking should be north,
north? Okay.
okay? And if you look at the layout,
Okay.
she should have plenty of parking.
Okay.
That's working on that facility is like a machine gun drill. If you ever played football in high school, it's one thing comes right after the other. You just have to take a deep breath and handle it. That's the only way you can do it. Behind there is really what I think is exciting is we have some people that want to develop a 48-unit apartment or residence complex and residence complex, along with 10.
Joe, I think that's going to be a combination of rental property and
It is.
condos, and I
It
think
is.
it's 50/50, something like that.
I'm going to assume, based on some conversations I've had, that the backside will be condo, the front side will be rental, but that's neither here nor there as far as the business is concerned. I'm working on the conceptual, the concept of the building, trying to facilitate the need for square footage, how all of it's going to work together, and something that the HPC can approve, because we've got to get that in place before we can take step 3 or 4. Down the back side, the developer is considering doing 2-story lofts, okay? And based on the concepts of the building, I think it would be just awesome. And so we always have the conversation about parking, and it's a real tug of war. I tend to pull on the same rope that David does, and then there's other people pulling the rope the different way. So I guess parking is always going to be a question, no matter what. So and there's conversations about street entrances and stuff that are always going to be there until it's finished. So anyway, I think it'll blow your mind when you see it all together. This is a great, to me, Joe Smith did an incredible job with the concept there. So
It's nice. Is any of it workforce housing? Or what, do you guys
I
know
don't
the
think
price?
so.
Nope.
mm,
No, that, Carrie, is going to happen on Wheat Street.
I know that's
So,
there,
yeah.
but yeah, I know it's 60 units there. I was just trying to see was any of that also workforce housing?
mhm.
Is the building, you asked about the building, it was designed, I guess, I asked Joe Smith the question, is that building specific to those 2 particular tenants? And he said it was designed in a way that the interior could be adjusted, and of course, the HPC has no jurisdiction over the interior anyway. But and the building looked great, and it could be used for a number of purposes, and I think it would fit right in with the look of the historic district. But is that on the very first lot that's below the train trestle?
Mhm.
On the
Yeah.
on the other side from Adrian's now?
Ken, can you go back to the building just a minute?
Yeah, there's the site plan there.
All right, you see where it says, the Adrian's building is the one on the left, on the bottom side, okay, you see that? That's the Adrian's, quote-unquote Adrian's building. We have 2 different ways to look at this. You see the big window that, on the right in the Adrian's building? Right there. Because Adrian's rent factor is a non-performing lease, we have the opportunity, and I have made provisions to cover our tails on this, is to create a wall or an opportunity for a wall just to the left side of that window. That gives us another about a 980 square foot facility to sell, rent, or do something with. If we can do that, which I think is the best way to do it, then that non-performing lease becomes less non-performing. So it takes, we don't have the financial problem.
That's what I was wondering
that-
about
that
Adrian's.
we got. So, and we've all gotten very creative. Clifton, Everett, myself, Monica, everybody that even David comes and we hash these things out. And we all gotten really creative to try to minimize the financial burden on the city. So that's a possibility. So you, instead of having just 2 businesses there, you may have 3.
So when you say non-performing lease, I'm
That's what I
not
was
familiar
gonna
with that term.
Adrian,
It means it doesn't pay for itself.
According to the people I've talked to in the
Yeah.
restaurant business, that should lease for somewhere in the $3,700 to $3,800 a month range.
Uh-huh.
Adrian ain't paying close to that.
So, but if you have a long-term, I mean, at some point, if you have an escalator clause in a long-term
we
agreement,
don't-
will it somehow, at some point, it will pay for itself, I would imagine.
We don't have any of that at this
Gotcha.
time. I've asked for information so that I could create, escalator clauses are my specialty. And I've tried to get the information to create an escalator clause.
Are
and
they?
I can't get it.
Are they gonna be condo or single, could they be fee simple if at some point that, or is this something, I mean, you said that there's a wall, I guess I'm assuming there's gonna be
It
a
will,
firewall.
it will end up being fee simple simply because the liquor store itself is fee simple.
Yeah, so if
Okay, and
there's a
explain-
point.
If somebody buys it, it would
Yeah.
be fee
At
simple.
some
What is
point,
fee
somebody's
simple?
gonna buy it.
That
What-
means
what's-
that it can be sold, like if you have a condo unit with multiple units in it.
Right.
Instead of one person owning the whole, you can have it like one person owns the whole. It's like a multifamily complex. At some point, I think they're trying to make Wheat Street fee simple, right? Is that the
It is
goal?
fee
Yeah.
simple.
It is fee simple?
No, not the individual townhomes won't be until, I don't know, anyway.
Okay, let's
Well,
look at
they're
this.
being platted individually, so
Yeah,
that
so
in
they will be-
itself,
Could be fee simple.
So is the plan, Ed, for DDA to get a construction loan from your banker partners to construct the building and then turn right around theoretically and sell it to a private developer?
yeah, I'll go ahead and address that, because I may be the DDA chair, but I work through the committees and let them do the work, and they keep me well informed, and Joe and Everett and Clifton have done an outstanding job, as well as the RAS team. So I'm very pleased with that. But what prompts all this stuff is, you heard non-performing, both leases were non-performing. We didn't get enough money from the liquor store. That was the problem all along, is, and that was a 25-year lease with about 17 years on it, I think, Joe. So it couldn't go away. So these negotiations and the working has been very complex. We've known that we were in a bad situation financially as far as working with this. The best way we see to get rid of this is let the liquor store be fee simple, owned by an individual. We're out of it. When that's built, that other lease goes away. So now we're not owners of a non-performing lease.
Gotcha.
So that takes care of 50% of our problem. What we're having to do with Adrian's, and Monica and I have talked about this, is we're pumping annually so much money into that current building. And, you know, everybody needs to realize that when we took this on, we made a commitment that we would keep Adrian's operating. We would work with them. And over the past several years that we've owned that building, Monica's not here, but I know I've signed for new roofs, $12,000. We probably put $30,000 in the building since we've had it. So we might as well be building a new one and putting that money and get rid of the money pit. And just like you said, Eric, the long-term plan is we're building a building. Hopefully there'll be an investor that will come along and buy it.
Oh, there will be.
Yeah.
Well, my thought is, if the city owns these buildings, the ones that Adrian, is there a way to owner finance it to her if it's fee simple and make interest off of it? I mean, is there other ways besides having a non-performing lease?
Well, we've looked at a lot of different ways.
We looked at it. I do not think Ms. Martha is
Is
interested in
interested.
that.
That's what I was gonna ask. What is she interested in and how does she feel about it? Because I don't want us to price her out of business. I'm excited about what's going on.
We're not going to price her out. What's going to happen is we will probably be supplementing that lease. But we've got to get the building built, and just like Joe says, we have to see, and there's no obligation for us to do this, okay?
Right.
Our belief is that her business is going to double or triple, okay?
I agree with that.
And just kind of like Joe was talking about with a graduated lease, we might eventually be able to add some, what they call percentage, as her growth goes, so much more gets paid.
Based on, yeah.
Based on sales. And so what happens is, then if we can put her in a position where she can afford to do this, and I do believe it will happen, just like Joe nodded his head when I said, if you get an investor that gets a lease that is going to be performing, he would probably buy it, he'll then buy it, and she will lease from him. So, long term, this is the only way we could go.
No, exactly.
And
I mean, we know that.
It's a short-term problem. By short-term, I mean maybe 2 or 3 years. But the area is going to be an exciting area, and especially when the triangle gets built out also. And it's going to be a place where people,
So short-term pain, long-term gain.
really a lot of gain long-term.
So Eric, Ed, if someone comes in and buy acres, I guess, an investor, well, then will Adrian's monthly fee go up if a new investor comes in and buys from the city?
Well, probably happen is going to be a graduated, if somebody came in and bought it right now, it would be a graduated, and we would still probably have to supplement that with a new investor. I don't know if that's what you're thinking, Joe, but I do believe that if a new investor comes in before we've really gotten it up to where it's really performing, he probably won't buy it without a guarantee that we will supplement it until it does. But
Cosign.
basically, yeah, it's
Big
basically.
partnerships in a restaurant.
It's just,
I think the investment is well worth what we do, and especially when the rest of that comes into play.
yeah, I think you're going to see that this is going to drive a great deal of interest in the West Washington Gateway. I think that once some actions, it's always this way in real estate generally. Once somebody jumps in, you see something going, everybody wants to know, ooh, what's going on there, And this combined with the multifamily rental, condo, all that getting really looking good. We've got 5 more lots up front that are going to generate quite a bit of revenue, because they're going to be worth a whole lot more than they are now. And currently, they're $100,000 each on the tax records. But this is an incentive moving forward. It's money well spent. I feel that we're going to recoup it fairly quickly. And by minimizing our debt that we're in right now, we'll be able to take on the bank loan that we have. And United Bank has worked very close with us in this whole process. And we have got a very generous offer. So it's all positive, very positive.
And for the benefit of the council, I do know that the DDA will have a retreat in February. And Monica has told us that she will come in March and give us a full
Update.
meeting of what's going on.
It'll be our usual March report where we come in and we'll be able to update. And so there's going to be some other things I do believe that's going to happen that we'll add more to that March meeting. So this is just a quick little overview. Eric asked, and I agree. Also, I do want to let you know that any of the council people are welcome to join the DDA meeting. Eric is been very good about doing that, and oftentimes I get good input, just listening to Eric, okay? So,
Well, I appreciate all the hard work. I mean, this
Yeah.
is very exciting, and I
It is.
think you're right. It's a short-term pain and investment in the long-term outlook, so.
I appreciate both you coming in and kind of updating us a little bit. I can't think of an agency or an entity in the city that has the potential for as much consequential changes to the city for the good. So I appreciate the update. One quick question, though, I had, we'll wait for maybe more information in March, but there's always been a public interest or a city interest through the planning department and David's office for a potential extension of Bull Street into the back of the cemetery, paralleling the tracks there. The new developer or the new potential buyer for the apartments that you referenced and the siting for this building, what effect will that have on the plan to get that second entrance into the cemetery?
it's going to happen. We're working with David on that to make sure that that's always been a need, and it's going to still be there. It just has to be facilitated in the layout of that particular corner of the property. But David's got total control on that. He can nod his head because I want that, so that it's done the way the city wants it, and it's done the way it benefits the community. So.
That's great. Thanks, Ed.
Okay.
You know,
Thanks,
a little,
Joe.
a little FYI, I went and talked to Martha for a while and just to see what her needs were in her kitchen and stuff like that. I was shocked when she said she intends to open 6 days a week for breakfast and lunch.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, good.
And seemed to be fairly excited about it. And then when you consider that there's going to be, in all likelihood, 50 to 60 dwellings at her doorstep, she's got a pretty solid base market to start with. To run downstairs and eat
Okay.
breakfast and run back.
That sounds really good.
It's pretty good.
That sounds good.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Ed.
Thank
for
you.
the update. Appreciate that so much. Thanks for the work you're doing for DDA.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks,
Now we'll
Joe.
have public comments from the public if someone wants to call in.
The number to call in is 706-707-8801.
While we're waiting for that, Mr. Mayor, I had a question. We have a city ordinance regarding political signs. I hate to get into politics, it's a crazy time, but there is a requirement in the city law that political signs need to come down 10 days after the election. And I know it's been kind of a chaotic political season, but we're well past 10 days now. Is there any way we can do a gentle reminder, maybe in one of the newsletters that, and I'm pretty sure about the ordinance, 10 days, is that?
Somebody said also that you can't have the same sign in your yard more than once, and I don't know if that's true or not. Do you know,
I
Dave?
think if someone told me, it might have been David, that we generally,
Ignore-
maybe the mayor, that we kind of bend over backwards for First Amendment stuff. And-
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I understand that completely, but.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
would
but
like-
I don't know, and
We
somebody asked me.
typically ask, or the ordinance says, and we won't get into whether we pass muster as far as what the law is now on signs, but that's another question. But one sign per candidate per street frontage. So if you're on a corner, you can
You can
load
do
up
it.
both sides.
Gotcha.
But we bend over backwards not to get involved in one or the other, but we'll get the reminder out that
Yeah.
for races that are done,
Yes.
that the signs should be removed. And typically it happens over time. People get tired of cutting around them or looking at them, and they'll pull them up. But for races that'll end up in the runoff, they'll be out there,
So
for a while.
the signs for the Senate two-seat runoff, those are the only ones really that are
They're the only
compliant
ones,
right
right,
now.
right. But we typically don't have to get out a real big stick as far as
Yeah.
that. Like I said, they'll get themselves down over time.
I think the unusualness of this political year is keeping the signs up longer for both
Yeah.
sides. I see them.
Yeah,
I'm ready to
everywhere.
move on.
Okay, has it been a minute?
Yes.
Been with no
At least.
calls.
No calls? Any comments by my councilman?
I want to tell you, the promotions committee met yesterday with Karen, and she's.
I'm sorry,
gonna-
which meeting?
The promotions committee for Main Street, and she's going to be awesome. I'm so excited, and everybody's so excited about her. And we talked about really aggressive social media for just Main Street, including TikTok and creating an Instagram. And the retailers that were there are pleased with the energy and the creativity. So I just wanted to let you guys know that she was a good find.
Good.
Thank
She's here
you.
with us this morning, too. if she
Thank you,
wanna-
Karen. Hey,
if she wants
Karen.
to- If she wants to add to it. Thank you so much. Thanks, Chris. And we could get a motion to go into executive session then to discuss real estate,
So moved.
personnel matters.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, if none? We'll give our members a chance to move out, and we'll go into executive session for a moment.
Thanks for doing your presentation, Ed.
Yeah.
You're
This is really nice, Ed.
Good presentation.